Hey!
Welcome to Coffee Talks with Sonic. Sick Coffee Talks. That's what it was before. There we are.
That's what it was.
There we are.
We're having a really hard time with the name. If you want to just leave a comment below what you think we should call it, that'd be great.
Yeah, and SICK is Sonic Inspection Corporation.
Correct.
Boom.
Boom.
All right.
Sid, what are we talking about today?
So today we're going to dive in. So we got a comment last week talking about approval.
You'll see it here.
Right here. We want to discuss that because there's some approval always comes up in our conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from day one. I mean, actually, it really wasn't until 2014 when we were written in the code book, like, "Hey, are you approved?" But this approval conversation comes up very frequently, and we want to hit the nail on the head.
Yep.
And so to start, I'm going to start with Joint Commission and the DNV, kind of your specifically because the comment was from a hospital entity. We want to focus on the hospital side real fast, which is our reports have been used for Joint Commission and DNV from New York to LA, I guess it'd be this way, Oklahoma, Florida, Colorado. I mean, we've been all over for that type of work. And so in terms of approval or commissioning approval, in terms of like the joint commissioning, I guess, that we've had that. Yeah. And that hasn't been an issue, which kind of, I guess, leads into...
Right. Well, I think it's important to state, like, when it comes to all of these, there's 1,000 regulatory agencies you can choose from.
Regulatory.
And I think that at least from what we've seen, all of them or the majority of them lean back on NFPA for their fire approvals, especially for inspections. And usually it looks something like so-and-so will quote NFPA 101, which then references NFPA 25. NFPA 25 is the fire code regarding inspections, testing, and maintenance in fire sprinkler systems. We actually are written into the NFPA 25 codebook in chapter 14. If you want to see not our faces, but our owner's face, you'll see him in the handbook for chapter 14. And in chapter 14, section 3.2.3, the phrase is alternative non-destructive examinations shall be permitted. That's the first place that it kind of talks about other ways of doing this assessment as opposed to the visual or traditional inspection. It goes on further to say that ultrasonic and I guess X-ray and video, remote video stuff will all be permitted in that same section. And that's kind of where we're talking about. There's actually even a blurb that says pulse echo and guided wave technology, the technology that Sonic Inspection uses, are two types of ultrasound that have been used in the sprinkler industry for years with great success.
Well, and even hitting in with that, and we'll actually need to do a video on this, the different types of ultrasound, but specifically guided wave and sonic inspection were actually written into that code book, as Peter was saying. And that's because in 2013 we met with Matthew Klaus, and he's the editor-in-chief of NFPA 25. He wanted to make sure that what we were bringing to the sprinkler industry was viable for you guys, and that we weren't blowing smoke. And so he went through and really assessed what we did. He sat down with the owner, David. David did a demo for him, showed him how we do this stuff, and he said, wow, this is really cool. And a few weeks go by, we actually get a call from the legal team, and they said, hey, we want to write you into NFPA 25 edition 2014. And so you will actually see David written by name. You'll see Sonic in there. You'll see a case study about us in the handbook. And that's what really promoted the change in the industry for allowing us to do code compliant inspections now.
And that happened in 2014. And what's tough for us is, even though we're in 2022, the frequency for like a 5-year internal, which is one of the corrosion assessments you have to get done, is so long that it's only maybe the second time someone's heard our name, if they've heard our name at all. And so we're just really getting into the beginnings of what is going to be like kind of what we hope to be a change in the industry.
So going into the AHJ though, because that's the kind of the next step, which is we're nationally approved, or this type of inspection is nationally approved. But now going into the AHJ, the local authority having jurisdiction, which is, as long as you want to use this inspection, when looking at NFPA, it says a risk analysis can be conducted as long as it's performed by a qualified person or entity with sufficient training and knowledge in system piping obstructions. So right there is as long as the entity you are choosing to use has sufficient knowledge and training in piping obstructions, this service can be used. And so specifically a sonic inspection, the comment was saying, well, we tried, we just had some issues. Well, I mean, this has been used since 2004, and it's written in the code book, and there is proof on proof that this is acceptable. And so I would say for the HJ approvals and all that, sometimes it's just education that we've got to go through.
Right.
And this is why we're doing these videos, to educate not only you guys, but to allow these videos to educate your HJs, to educate the people around you, because it's important that we all have, as we said, the enough knowledge, not even enough, that we have all the resources to make the best educated decision about our life safety assets that we can, and to protect the people in the buildings and all of it. So
yeah, well, and I think just one thing I want to hit on, there are some AHJs that maybe they haven't officially approved the 2014 edition of the code yet. However, what's important to note is in that same section of the code book, there's a whole piece about how alternative assessments and something about assessment frequencies too, which that's not our deal, have already been in the book for quite a long time. The non-invasive option has been in the appendix for a long, long time. So it's not like it's just in 2014. That's just when it got moved into like a front and center piece of the book. So our approval that is based on these alternative methods option has been in the book for years and years and years. And so if your HJ hasn't heard of us, like really they just need to meet us and see our technology and see us in the code book. And without fail, we've done this with HJs all over the country. Basically they go, oh, you're in the book? That's great, love that. And then they give us a thumbs up and we move right along, and we have really great relationships with all of them. So
I think that's in a nutshell. As quick as we can.
That's the approval conversation.
So, well, I want to thank you guys for joining us. Next week, I think we're going to have some more interesting, controversial conversations regarding functional testing.
We'll talk about some functional testing and just some concerns, some thoughts.
Some thoughts. Some thoughts. Cool. Hey, well, cheers, guys. Thank you for sipping coffee with us, and we'll tune in next week for a testimony and learning.
Mom, look at that.
Look, cheers.